You know, some mornings when I wake up and I decide what I'm gonna record for today, I think to myself a couple different concepts. Oh, maybe this would be interesting, or maybe that would be something people would want to watch, and then in the end I just end up going with the worst concept anyway. Yeah, I think today's one of those days. Welcome, first of all, to Vic3, a game I don't play that much on this channel, but more importantly, welcome to Haiti. At this point in time, Haiti is a relatively young country, having only received independence like 30 years ago. As a former agricultural colony, Haiti doesn't really have a whole lot going on yet. And to make matters much worse, we start off with a debt to France, which was negotiated in exchange for the recognition of Haiti's independence. This debt is, it's enormous. I believe the way it works is that you have to pay off 500,000 pounds 4 times. Or in other words, so much money that I'm pretty sure we can't even hold 2 million in our coffers. But we don't have to worry about that because it's not like we're filling the coffers anyway. We have a credit of 239,000 to begin with. Plus, it's not just the interest on this credit that we're paying, we're also paying the interest to France at the same time. Isn't that lovely? So to pay off that debt, we're going to have to build up the economy, except that there isn't really a lot of room to build an economy. We have some ability for logging camps, a little bit of fishing, a little bit of arable land. Otherwise, we can't really do a whole lot. But there's no point in complaining. We have work to do, so we might as well get started. First thing we need to do is build up this economy. So I think I'm gonna go with banking, stock exchange, and empiricism. Gonna slap down a few decrees, hopefully make things a little easier on us. Gonna try to make the government as stable as possible. Now, I don't really want to change any of these laws right now, mostly because if I want to build an institution, I'm gonna need money for the bureaucracy, and frankly, we do not have that. I might, however, while we have the chance, decide to change our distribution of power. I think wealth voting would probably be the most in our favor, and at the very least, we can chop some trees. Now that we have wealth voting, we do have somebody else in charge, which is unfortunate considering, you know, the whole engineer guy. On the other hand, that guy was like 63. I don't know how much longer he was going to live. At the very least, we can form an actually stable government this time. So if I want to pass something, then it'd be a lot easier. Also, I really should just sell like anything off. It doesn't really matter what I sell. It's a really good thing I've been improving relations with France because, one, we managed to get a society that's in favor of them, and also they might help us get a trade agreement with France. Now, the reason we want to be friendly with them is because we do have the opportunity to negotiate a little bit smaller of a payment, although we will have to be pretty close friends for that. Also, I might be wrong about this, but I think in order for the investment pool to try and actually buy stuff that I'm privatizing, I need to have at least one construction sector, otherwise they don't really see the point. Oh, yeah, what do you know? Well, that's an easy way to clear off a good portion of our debt. Now I think we're somewhat in the clear, the economy's building itself, and I can reduce taxes. Unfortunately, I'm probably still going to have to actually industrialize the economy. Otherwise, it's just gonna be a bunch of landowners just reinvesting into agriculture, and that's not what we need right now. There we go, trade agreement with France, perfect. They made their own power block, but unfortunately it's an empire, and I would rather not become a subject to France again. Although I might try to see if I can sneak into the American faction, because that's a trade league. That means instant customs union, not the cheapest way to industrialize. That would probably be joining the British Empire, but I'm not doing that. I could even ask them for a defensive pact, which wouldn't actually be a bad idea. Although it does cost quite a lot of influence, so I'm gonna balance that out by, I guess, rivaling Venezuela. That's fine. If I get the opportunity, though, I would absolutely love to invade Cuba, which would require a bit of cooperation on France's part, but in theory might be doable. Alright, we've urbanized a good part of Haiti. The industrialists are gaining quite a bit of power. In fact, I wouldn't mind at some point maybe even going to like laissez-faire, but that's gonna be when I probably enter somebody's market. I also do kind of want to grab a market liberal, so I might enact corn laws for a little bit. I say a little bit as if I can like actually influence that. It's gonna be there for a while. I think the easiest way to do that though is just like go over to the rice farms and say, hey, make stuff other than rice, and then wait a few days, boom, corn laws, nice. Thing is though, we do have somebody in this slot and I don't want you there, so goodbye. Oh hey there, France, want me to join your empire? Yeah, no thank you. We can be friends, but not that friendly. We finished our last tech, which was mass communications, so instead I'm gonna grab central banking, then modern sewerage, then nationalism. We'll get a little bit of help with our infrastructure without having to build too many ports, because those are expensive. Also, we can just reduce our loan interest rate, which would be nice, because I will probably go back into debt. Central archives will also be a nice one to grab. In fact, maybe I will get rid of this. Actually, we'll go with central archives first, that's fine. Somebody did just set up some paper in here, so we might as well use that. Here we go. We grab our our market liberal. We're gonna put him in charge, and using that, I'm gonna swap off of mercantilism, because, I mean, the biggest issue, I think, is that we're using merchant guilds for the trade centers, rather than privately owned. And as a matter of fact, I think we do need free trade, because we're not really getting anything from this island. We're gonna have to import a whole bunch of stuff. In fact, if you look at my current imports, yeah, we actually can't grow cotton on this island, by the way. That's probably the fastest law pass I've ever had. Now, I think I might also want to go with laissez-faire, maybe. Problem is, we just don't really have a lot of people to begin with. A population of 1.09 million. So we're kind of running out of people to employ, like that's just gonna happen at some point. But that's okay, I'll figure something out. Okay, alright. You know what? That's fair. That's a good one. Okay, hold on. What is this block? You just have vassalization, that's it. I really don't see a benefit in this for me. This isn't even going to give me a customs union. And if I decline, I mean, sure, people aren't gonna like this, but it's better than getting vassalized by the French, right? It has to be. I'm sorry, France. It is what it is. There's laissez-faire. We got our first company. Not that it means much, but I might go with the fishing wharves just to get more convoys. I don't know. Although the logging camps, I think, statistically give you the most money, so maybe we'll go with that. Well, you know, most money for now. Alright, I've been waiting for this. It's only taken us 11 years, but we can pay off one portion of the debt. Yippee! On the bright side, it means we have to pay France less each month as well, which means every time you pay off a bit of debt, it does get a little bit easier to pay off some more debt. I also generally prefer just going immediately to public health insurance rather than charity hospitals. We get the +2 max health system institution investment without having to like wrestle with the clergy. If there's one thing I do appreciate about enacting any kind of healthcare system for, I think the first time is when you're allowed to do this, is that this event is just insane. I mean, sure, people might get a little bit more mortality for a while, but that's not that bad. Oh hey, university, nice. We actually could use that. Now that we have the healthcare system, we can immediately bump it up to level 4. The idea is that we can raise the standard of living a little bit, also decrease mortality, and we should be able to bring in some population, maybe. But in order to actually do that, we're going to have to change our citizenship laws, because they kind of suck right now. To do that, we're going to have to get the intelligentsia in charge, which is easier said than done. I think the easiest way to do that is going to be, firstly, getting rid of our state religion, which also requires the intelligentsia in power, right? You can see how this is going to be an issue. Here's debt payment number 2. Now, I'm gonna go for a bit of a gamble here, but I think I might be able to just throw the industrialists in power and maybe swap to no migration controls. Frankly, we need people. It doesn't really matter. Alright, perfect. Now, France wants investment rights, but to be honest, I don't think that's a good idea. I would accept it if we both got investment rights, because then I could build up more infrastructure for investment and then invest in France. That would be great. But until then, really? Again? I really wish they didn't ask more than once, because it does get a little bit annoying. I've been trying really hard to bump up the intelligentsia, but it's really not working the way I wanted to. It's not quite the end of the world though, because I think I can throw in the industrialists and the intelligentsia. Then I can decrease taxes to make them legitimate and also pause all my building. Then I might be able to, at the very least, go to freedom of conscience or total separation. That's the most important thing to go for. This last election is looking a little better for us because the Liberal Party now has at least a couple of votes, you know, at least enough to form a stable government. And somehow the economy has still been growing even though we've run out of people to employ a long time ago. I am also spending a lot more money than I would like to be spending right now, and most of that is because I'm cutting taxes to keep the legitimacy high enough to actually pass this bill. I'm not even sure at this point how long we've been sitting on this, but hopefully because we have over 50 legitimacy, we can actually get something done now. On the other hand, because the revolution is happening in Santo Domingo, which has like nobody and practically no troops, I wouldn't even be that upset if the revolution did happen. I'll take any opportunity to make the clergy a little bit weaker. At last, total separation. That was extremely painful to try and actually push through. Now, the entire administration has been secularized, which means the church should have far less power, in theory. Yeah, there you go. The intelligentsia should have far more power. We can use that to also try to push through cultural exclusion. This is important because the French would like to migrate here, I imagine. We have a very good standard of living. However, they're just not allowed to. That's not true. They actually are allowed to move, but they aren't for some reason, so we're gonna try to fix that. And actually, the only reason I had these universities was to increase the power of the intelligentsia. And now that they are a powerful group in the government, I don't think we necessarily have to bolster them, nor do I think we actually need this many universities. So we're gonna maybe get rid of a couple of those because they are very expensive, and we can throw on a few more taxes. It's not like the upper classes have anything to spend their money on at the moment. There we go. Okay, we've taken a huge gamble with this. I don't know if it's going to pay off, but at the very least, any pops which are either African heritage or francophone should be able to, and ideally want to, move to Haiti through a mass migration. And we have like somewhat decent attraction. Not as high as, say, America, but it is higher than Mexico. I went ahead and declared a rivalry with Spain because America also was not a huge fan of Spain, and so hopefully that will encourage them to help me. That would be nice. There we go. We can get them in on just an obligation, which is very easy for us. We could go for a war goal, but the chance that this is actually going to get enacted, I mean technically it would, wouldn't it? It does cost 40 though. We can't exactly afford that. Let's start off by going for Puerto Rico as well. We're gonna make that primary, and then we can call in America on an obligation. And in fact, I hope they use that obligation to either force me to accept like a trade agreement or whatever, I don't know. Now there's a chance they could back down. That would be nice. It's not a very good chance, but it could happen. I kind of expected this though. The Americans are gonna try to do a landing, which is incredibly stupid, but it doesn't really matter. All I need them to do is draw troops away from Cuba, just like that, so I can send in my people into, first of all, Puerto Rico. I think it'll be a little bit easier to invade. Oh, look at that. Actual migration. Isn't that crazy? We're somehow not only defeating the Spanish Navy to the point where they have to retreat, but, well, up until this point, we were doing pretty alright on the invasion as well. It's not that big of a deal. We just cancel it, give it a few seconds, we'll come back. The Americans are probably gonna be fine in Cuba. I mean, I say that, but I'm witnessing, like, severe incompetency, which kind of sucks. Well, maybe we can help them out a little bit by going after Puerto Rico. If we fight the army in two places at once, then yeah, looks like the Americans will have an easier time in Cuba. And they've taken it. Perfect. We're gonna hang back for a second, let the Americans go after Puerto Rico as well. One more landing and the Americans should just about have it. There we go. Perfect. Right as they were about to leave the war as well. Thank you. That's nice. That's real nice. All right, let's start by incorporating everything because we kind of have to. Now that we actually have a couple of resources to exploit, we're going to have to focus on bringing people over here to exploit them. Or I guess just let the capitalists actually build now. Defensive pact with the French. Okay, except I know what you're trying to do. They're trying to invite me back in again. Okay, well, at least they're not asking for like an obligation or something, you know? Now, things get a little bit complicated here. I actually wouldn't mind if they paid off the debt. That would be pretty nice. The obligation kind of sucks, but as long as we try to balance ourselves between the French and the Americans, I don't think it's going to be a problem. Look at us now, though. The economy is booming, standard of living is acceptable, and the population is increasing rapidly through immigration. Also, because we're a little bit larger, we should be able to negotiate some investments. Mostly, I'm hoping that they're trying to privatize some part of the economy, so hopefully the capitalists can just buy that up immediately. Oh, that's great. That's cool. Thanks for that, America. Just gonna pretend I don't see that, you know, look over here, and they're willing to give me a trade agreement, so I'm willing to look the other way. That is a wacky Mexico flag, though. Don't think I've seen that one before. Yup, I knew it. They still don't have internal trade, and they think I'm gonna join this. That's crazy. In fact, you do have just like a little bit too much power, so as a matter of fact, I'm gonna get rid of that, thanks. Really? You're gonna call me in on the obligation? I thought it would have fixed that. Oh, that kind of sucks. Actually sucks because I can't even accept it. They sent it, and there's no way for me to say yes. I love this game so much. You know, I kind of forgot that we have that debt to France, and in fact, it makes it even funnier the fact that they paid off some of my debt, but we still owe them money. Don't worry, I'll get around to it eventually, but it is kind of funny, you know. Don't worry, we're just, we're getting a good credit score by paying these interest payments. I kind of figured that there would eventually be a secession movement, since it's not really technically possible for us to accept any of the cultures here. Well, actually, just Carabeño. So this was kind of expected. Not so big of a deal other than being mildly annoying, like they might, I don't know, destroy some of the buildings that I made, and that would suck. Otherwise, it's exactly what we expected to have happen. Well, that was fast. On the downside, we are going to have to wait another 21 years just to incorporate that, which does kind of suck. See, this is exactly what happens if you want to join the French bloc. It starts off like, oh, that would be nice to have French protection. Boom, Dominion. It's not worth it. Not even once. Just look at all those people. 2,000 a week. I might actually be able to do something with this run, you know? When I started recording this, I honestly thought I'd just be sitting here for the next, entire game, you know, full 100 years. Being able to grab Cuba was a stroke of luck, and being able to push enough laws to actually get immigration was like, well, actually it was really painful, but it worked out in the end. Oh, here we go. That's exactly what I've been hoping for. Mutual investment rights in Brazil. I've managed to get a few so far, but usually in these like smaller countries that don't really have a lot of population, so there's not that much to invest into. In fact, they've more been investing in me than I've been investing in them. Not that I mind so much, because it is employing my population, which raises the standard of living, which in turn gives me more migration. But finally, having something that my capitalists can invest into once we're done building up our economy is gonna be great. In fact, I think we would like to become closer to Brazil, although I don't really want to give them an obligation. So we'll wait. I'm sorry, wait a second. I was really confused because I thought there was some bug going on here, but no, there actually is a country called River Plate, and it's Argentina. I guess as a subject of the British, they get called a River Plate, which is interesting. It did take a little while, but here's another debt payment. We should only have one left, and it should be pretty easy for us to get all that money. I'm not so sure whether or not I want publicly traded. I'm pretty sure it's a good idea, only because having a higher number of capitalists should, I mean, it should in theory increase the amount of investment going on, but more specifically, it should increase the standard of living by just a little bit. It's also important that we grab that because we could, if we wanted to, go to commercialized agriculture, and I think I do kind of want to. And just like that, we've paid off all of our debt. At this point, I don't think 60 prestige is really gonna do much for us, considering it's gonna be quite expensive to get to major power, and I don't even know if we want that right now. It's gonna ruin a couple of my rivalries, I think, but it might be helpful, so we might as well take it. Now, Honduras is in a little bit of an odd situation. Neither side of this civil war actually, like, has any troops, so it's just a whole lot of sitting there doing nothing, but I might be able to change that. The only thing is, some people might not like it if I try to change that, so we'll just have to see. Because they're calling in all of their allies, if I do this correctly, I might even be able to take all of the territory from their allies as well. I've been decreasing my relationship with the British to make sure the Americans might like me a little bit more. I'm really hoping at some point they're going to let me do investments in their country. That would be very nice. I think first I'm gonna have to increase my rank and then also decrease my infamy, but that's not gonna take too long. Oh, well, that sucks. Wait, what? Hold on. How does this even work? How did this happen? Okay, that's not exactly what I expected to have happen, but it's not the end of the world, it's just kind of annoying. So if I want to conquer the other half of Honduras, who has no interactions with anybody so far, then it might be doable, but Mexico might be annoying. It kind of depends. Okay, Mexico sided with them. France is once again being annoying as always. I'm not quite sure what to think about this, other than the fact that it was remarkably easy anyway. I guess Mexico didn't really care that much. Well, I'll take that, thanks. There's not a lot in here. I mean, it's a little bit of wood, or stuff for agriculture, I guess. Actually, the ports are very useful, and this is helpful too. That's a lot of railways, though. You do not need all of that. Okay, yeah, let's get rid of a few of those. The best part about going after these countries is that I already own a decent amount of the GDP. I've been investing in them for a while. In a perfect world, no one's gonna try to stop me invading Nicaragua. I mean, New Granada might. Minus 46. It's within the realm of possibility. I've had weirder things happen before. Okay, they're not even fighting me. It's weird, but I'll take it. Gee, thanks? Oh boy. Welcome to, what is this, World War I at this point? The US, Netherlands, which are a dominion of the US, disgusting, and France on one side versus the entire British Empire on the other. Well, and the Roman Republic, but who cares? Quite the war. Liberate California. That would be funny. Well, it looks like the Americans are gonna have their hands full, so actually both the Americans and the British, which is interesting, considering Costa Rica's guaranteed by both. Interesting. Well, at the very least, if the Americans want to intervene in San Salvador, I would be shocked. You have a little bit too much on your plate right now. It's not really possible for us to get the entirety of Central America. Like, it would be possible, maybe, but it's looking a little bit risky. I don't know if I want to get involved in this right now. The Catholic Church wants us to pass monarchy. Now, that would be very funny, but I don't think we have much of a use for that. I'm kind of okay with our presidential republic. It seems like the war between Britain and France is still going to be inconclusive for the time being, only because of one weird little thing, which honestly I don't think should have happened, but whatever, it doesn't matter. In fact, it's a good thing for me because as dumb of an idea this is about to be, I think I might just take the Caribbean from the British. It doesn't seem like they're in much of a position to stop me, so at the very least we can take anything that's not currently occupied by France, because that will break the war goal and we won't be able to finish the war. But at the very least, if I go for the stuff that I can occupy, like the Bahamas and Mesquitia, and actually even Guatemala Guatemala, yeah, that would work. Then I don't think Britain is exactly in a position to stop me. In fact, I'm gonna try to make this quick. Quick in and out, it'll be no problem. Alright, everything is ready to go. I've split up these armies to make sure I can do as many naval invasions as possible simultaneously. Not like literally as many as possible, I only actually need like 3. Okay, that was actually pretty decent. We do have all of our war goals and Britain is collapsing currently. So ideally, we only have to wait maybe half a year and we should be able to grab those. Depends on when these guys finish their war though. It's entirely possible that they might just decide to give up soon, which is looking more and more likely by the day and not very good for us. Defensive pact with America as well, that's perfect. I can't believe it. It's actually working. I didn't think this would work. Oh, that's beautiful. That's good. Now, we didn't get the entirety of the British West Indies. We still have to go after these islands at some point. But a win is a win, especially against the foremost superpower of the world. Although it looks like that superpower is kind of losing that power. British East India is only a protectorate at this point. Them being fully occupied is not doing any favors for their subjects. It's times like this that I wish I could actually have like a Caribbean formable. I know there is one, but not for Haiti. I guess I could install a mod. I don't know, would that be too broken? It's now 1886, so I think it's worth it to take a look outside of our little bubble down here in the Caribbean and see how the rest of the world is doing. So far, it's really not that crazy other than the Dutch losing Indonesia. The British, at this point, barely holding on to the Raj, but they might get it back. I don't know. The elephant in the room here. Russia, of course, hasn't made any progress towards forming the North German Confederation, nor Germany, as we would expect. I feel like that's going to be a trend among all of my Vic3 videos. Well, it seems like Costa Rica actually isn't really aligned with America at all at this point, which I thought they still were, so I wasn't actually going after them. But I mean, at this point, I might as well, right? If nobody's gonna help them, seems to be risk-free, but it never really is risk-free in Victoria 3. I'll at least give it a shot. I also don't quite understand, but for some reason, we don't even have a border with Costa Rica. Like, we do, but we don't. One of the weirder bugs I've encountered, but on the bright side, at least we have a navy and we can do naval invasions. It's just, I feel like I shouldn't have to do this, but okay. Oh yeah, that was easy. Uh-oh. I don't think that's gonna be too big of an issue, right? Probably. I'm worrying about my investments. Or rather, if the military revolt wins, then I won't be able to, you know, continue investing. That's kind of a big deal. They would be willing to transfer Amazonas to me. That is so useless, but thank you. I'd much prefer a bankroll, actually, thanks. Oh, let's go. Mutual investment with America. Huge. Okay, so it's not all bad. If we lose Brazil, at least we can still invest somewhere. There you go. The investment rights have been secured. Plus the bankroll, which is nice, because now they have like quite a bit of money. That's cool. Actually, at this point, I have been building up specifically explosives for a few things. Even if no one in my country actually wanted to produce them, that's too bad. We kind of needed them. 1 for munition plants so I can expand the army, and also 2 for my construction sectors. Interestingly enough, the demographics of the country have changed so much that we're actually starting to rival Mexico. The population is somewhat similar on both sides. Their GDP is only slightly higher than ours. I think they just insist on spending a lot of it on the army, which is fair because I mean, look at them. If I were Mexico, I would spend everything on the military right now too. Okay, let's start restricting child labor. This is important because reducing the mortality of all these people will increase the population as well. And of course, if we get the chance, then also putting on regulatory bodies would be equally effective. Well, I don't know about equally, but it'll help as well. And in fact, we are a major power and we really shouldn't be, but that's cool. Until, you know, eventually this runs out, but that's neat to have it for now. It actually is very helpful considering when you are a major power, you get 10% more migration attraction. Also, it would allow me to turn New Granada into a protectorate. Like, I can't do it, but in theory, I would be allowed to. And I would be in Venezuela right now if it weren't already a subject to America. So I was thinking, it kind of sucks that when you play as Haiti, you don't get the formable for the Caribbean. There is one, but not for when you're playing as Haiti, which I think is a little bit disappointing. You actually have to play as, I think, like Jamaica or something. It's weird that they added one in, but it's only if you are playing as like the English Caribbean colonies that you can't even actually play as at the start. So I decided to install a mod. Yes, I know, game breaking, I understand. But I added a mod that does add a whole bunch of formable countries, and I'm hoping it doesn't do anything really weird anywhere else. I didn't check all of the formables, so there's a chance some country out there is just gonna like randomly change, but it is what it is. I just think personally I should be allowed to form the Caribbean, and you know, conveniently enough, we do own 6 states, so I think I'm gonna do it. See, look how simple that is. Like you barely even get, okay, that's a lot of claims actually. I don't even think that's that broken. Can't say I'm fond of the map color, but it is what it is. Now, hopefully we don't see anything wacky happen around the world. Everything the same, I think. Okay, that's good. Main point behind doing that is that it would also give me access to the Afro-Caribeño as an accepted culture, which I think would be reasonable. Now, the West Indies Federation in the base game only really gives you access to the Afro-Caribbean culture as a primary culture, which I think is dumb. I feel like you should be allowed to integrate all of them. So overall, I don't think I'm breaking the game balance here. Like, if you can form the European Union, I feel like I should be allowed to do this. Besides, I am, you know, forming it after already integrating or, you know, incorporating most of the states in the Caribbean anyway. So think of it like, okay, we've incorporated the states, now everyone's, you know, they're willing to make the federation. I don't know, whatever headcanon you want to make up, I'm sure it's fine. Oh yeah, the name of the mod, by the way, is Kiko's Formable and Releasable Nations. Got a whole bunch of them, which, you know, some of them are a little bit unrealistic, but that's okay. You know, maybe we shouldn't be allowed to bring Carthage back, but at least I get my formable, so I'm not complaining. Alright, what's up, Brazil? Ooh, a proletarian revolt. Yeah, we can't let that happen. There will be no nationalized industry today. The intelligentsia want propertied women, and that's no problem for me. I'm also really considering going to war with New Granada. The problem is I'm not entirely sure if the US would help me. They might, I just don't think they really hate them enough. Yeah, they kind of like each other. That's an issue. I've made the army larger, and you know what? I think I'm just gonna go for it. I have barely enough confidence that America is gonna help us. Beautiful. Oh, but they want something. Maybe not as great as I thought it would be. Yeah, that complicates things a little bit, doesn't it? Okay, well, let's hold on a second. Let's wait and see. Because if Mexico joins, then maybe we can leverage something that Mexico has. Or not, because America doesn't care. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I expected to have happen. The only thing is, I don't think Mexico can actually afford this army. They're not manufacturing any of the equipment that they're using in this army. Well, they have a few arms industries, okay. But that's looking like no artillery, and especially no ammunition. So maybe we can just outlast them. I don't know. In any case, if we're escalating things, then I will take some of my... Okay, I guess they are claims, so the formable did make us quite a bit stronger, because they don't cost nearly as much AE. AE, what is this? EU4? It's less infamy, and it's also fewer war goal maneuvers. But, yeah, I think I'm gonna take some more stuff. And by some stuff, I mean, like, the entirety of New Granada. See, look at that. Mexico's not even raising the army. That's how broke they are. Then again, New Granada also is moving troops around, so I'm starting to wonder if maybe I broke the game. I don't actually know. I don't think I did. Hold on a second. No, there's still battles going on over here, so, like, troops function in theory. I don't think I broke anything. And yet, they're not stopping me, or even attempting it. Oh, here we go. Just took him a second. There we go. Now we're actually having a real war. One which is not exactly the easiest to win. We are getting there, though. In fact, let me try something real quick. Let me get these guys, and let me go for push into Mexico. We're gonna have to quickly save ourselves down here to make sure we don't get capitulated, while simultaneously also pushing into Mexico to make sure we can get them out of the war. Now they're panicking. They want to go back home, which makes sense. Means we should be able to take this back. There we go. We are safe in this front, and in fact, not just safe, there's nobody here. The plan might have been too successful. There we go. Mexico's now out of the war, and New Granada is ours. Look at that. Isn't that nice? It's gonna be a whole lot to integrate and actually, like, work into the economy, but no point in complaining. Might as well get started. Wait, pardon me? Uruguay is asking for what? Sorry? Oh, that's crazy. What do you know? I think it's that bug where, you know, you get a puppet and they immediately do not have access and they never get access for some reason. Oh, no, wait, there is a reason. They literally do not own a port in Uruguay. But yes, you do. What's wrong with you? Okay, I'll just reload. I think that should probably fix it in theory. Yeah, there we go. Oh, that's crazy. Because their claims are immediately incorporated. Okay, sure, fine. Maybe the formable was a lot stronger than I thought it would be. Still gonna maintain that it should be in the base game anyway. Oh, right, okay. You can have regulatory bodies, actually. That's a good thing to have. Trade agreement with Prussia. Do we even trade, bro? I guess we do. Actually, yeah. We get a lot of wood from them, I think. Or no, we export wood to them. I don't want to do that. That's not the industry I want to promote. But yeah, this is fine, actually. Yeah, I don't really want to export these raw goods. Kind of want to keep them. Make sure they're cheap. The manufacturing industries can use them. Ecuador wants an alliance, but that brings up a pretty good point, which is that I should turn you into a protectorate instead. Problem is, the French might not like that, so it kinda depends. Once the economy's large enough, I might even actually create a trade league. I don't know, we'll see. Of course, they just have to go ahead and update the game like mid-recording, so new day, new update, I guess. At the very least, it should make these upcoming plans a little bit easier to execute. Because they fixed a particular bug with adding people to your market and them just not updating their ports, you know, the thing that happened in Uruguay, I might actually decide to form this power block, because then I don't have to, like, you know, reload the game 17 times. I feel like I really should do this, because if I don't, then it's likely that these countries might just, like, fall into the French or American sphere of influence. Like, Ecuador is already in the French sphere, and that kind of sucks. So I'm gonna make a trade league, because, I mean, frankly, we don't have a lot of other options. I don't really care that much for a military treaty, nor an ideological union, because, I mean, that would be great, but it's not like we're that special. We're just doing, like, pretty basic liberalism, I think. So instead, I'd prefer a trade league so I can start integrating the economies of South America into my own, and, I don't know, might even play the part of liberating a few countries from French influence, possibly, who knows? We'll see. First, I need to stop improving relations with the French so I have enough influence to actually make this power block. Well, you know, I wanted to be friendly with Ecuador, but it seems like, actually, they're not going to change my power block. They don't really want to. That's a real shame, because I kind of need them in my country anyway, so yeah, that sucks. So the US wants to build the Panama Canal. No, that's fine, we'll build it. The only reason I'm not going after Mexico right now is because they might be the most protected country on the planet, with their independence guaranteed by Austria-Hungary and a defensive pact with both France and Russia. I am not going in there anytime soon. We finally have gantry cranes, which are like the last thing we need in order to have an actual decent trading block, especially since we're so isolated. Ah, here we go, something to actually do. So, you want to transfer me the Amazonas. This time it makes sense. And you know what? I might even say yes to that, but it kinda depends. What else would you accept? Become protectorate is something you would accept. Isn't that interesting? Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. Wow. What do you know? I like that. I'll go with that. That works. Alrighty, new subject, Brazil. That is quite a lot of convoys for those port connections, though. So, we might have to get started on building a lot of ports. Okay, for some reason, I don't think things were actually updated, because I have no idea how to explain this. I went to go ahead and rival Java, and for some reason, it fixed my convoys. I have no explanation. I guess I don't need to build that many ports anymore, so that's cool. I think I've also made a big mistake this entire game by just, like, not investing that much in building universities. So my tech also just kind of sucks, to be honest. Although, to be fair, the British aren't exactly investing that much in education either. Only 78 innovation per week. That is literally less than I have. So maybe it's not that bad. Although if I want to change or fix my technology spread, I could go to right of assembly or protected speech. Let's start with right of assembly. Hey, hold on a second. I don't usually really events all that much, but this one is interesting. 50 prestige is an insane hit to take, but it's only during the next enactment, right? So it'll hurt, but it's not going to change that much for us. Still crazy to me that I can just decrease the autonomy of Brazil so easily. Like, yep, that's my subject. I own that. Kind of wish I could get involved in these, but nobody wants to let me in, and it kind of sucks. So I might just declare war on Britain myself. They do seem to be getting dusted, but I'm not sure how long that's gonna last. Also, the French are occupying the Caribbean. It's not like we can even take it. I could take Bermuda, I guess. All 100,000 people on Bermuda. It's still really weird to me that you can just actually occupy the entirety of Britain and not immediately win the war that way. You know, maybe that means there should be a bit of a rework in terms of, you know, war goals, peace deals, that kind of thing. 'Cause this makes no sense. This war should be over already. It's kind of hard to tell who's actually winning at this point. Honestly, I would prefer that the religious revolt wins, but I don't think that's going to happen. This might be a perfect opportunity. If Spain just created a power block, that means that everyone's going to be a little bit less likely to help them, or rather, they just don't like them very much. So I'm going to rival Spain, which should make all of their rivals like me a little bit more, but also, in particular, I kind of want to just take the Philippines. Problem is, British East India is not just like a subject to Britain, they are like the second strongest power, like by actual strength. They have the #1 economy in the world. Their army is enormous, and their fleet is the 5th largest. Although actually it's not that strong, it is technically weaker than mine. Yeah, and the economy, like, it's not even by a small amount, it's like, it's actually double the American economy. Oh, I love how this happens, like, every single game. That's really cool. Oh boy, a major war I could actually get involved in. On the downside, it would be helping Italy, and they're not winning against Britain. Liberate Cornwall, yeah, I'm sure that's gonna happen. Delusional take from Italy here. But, you know, if they gave me a bankroll, I wouldn't even mind joining in, because I don't think Britain's gonna, like, ask for anything from me. Actually, they might. They do hate me. Japan? Wait, hold on. People are actually siding with Italy? Maybe I spoke too soon. Britain? Worried? That's unexpected. If France joins, I might get in on this. Doesn't look like France is gonna join, but you know what? I will. There are probably far better things to ask for, but I kind of want to have the West Indies, so that does disrupt quite a bit of the trade we have going on with Britain, but ultimately it's not that much. The biggest issue is gonna be like the silk, and maybe the opium. That was a quick occupation. Let's go to Bermuda. Now, are we at war with Canada? I don't think so. So there shouldn't be any problem with us trying to occupy Newfoundland and Labrador either. So the reason I wanted to do that was that I could move my guys over here. And you know, conveniently enough, it looks like there aren't that many people guarding England itself, or you know, the British Isles. Seems to be a lot of like proxy fighting in other places, I don't know. You know, I'm not sure if this is actually going to work, but it would be funny if it does, so I'm at least gonna try it. Okay, I'm not saying it's gonna work, but I am saying that we have made like some progress. You know, I will say that we are winning this current battle. And you know, I will say that we have landed in Cornwall. I might even add that London has fallen. Now, what to do with this information? I guess we just wait for Britain to die, I guess. There's no way this worked. I don't know why this worked. It really shouldn't have worked. It's really funky. Britain's trying to invade me back, which is super funny, but I don't think they can do anything at this point. In exchange for Algiers getting conquered, they're willing to accept every single other demand, which is super funny. Because, yeah, you know what? I would accept that. That's cool. Sure. Balkanized Britain, my favorite. There's a good chance that some of these tags only exist because of the mod I have installed, and yeah, I'll acknowledge that, but I don't think that was actually like the worst part of what happened here. I don't think being allowed to release Northumbria is that much of a stretch. Okay, so I was about to get involved in this whole war against Spain, right? Thing is, my PC ended up sort of freezing, and I lost quite a few minutes of footage, so I think, you know, I have been recording for like a total of 9.5 hours for this one playthrough. Might be a good enough place to end things off, especially considering as I continue to play, it's only going to take longer and longer for each year to pass. So, I'd say we did a pretty decent job starting as Haiti. I've been chasing that number 10 GDP spot for quite a while. We don't have information on it right now. Well, I guess we do, just weird bug. We're not actually that far off. In fact, if we had just a little bit more GDP, we would put ourselves in the 8th highest GDP spot. Certainly not like a great power at that point, but you know, fairly decent. Our current standard of living is the 9th highest in the world, which is fairly decent, especially for how we started. The power block kind of sucks, as you probably would have expected. If I had another 100 prestige, maybe it wouldn't suck as much. We have a population of 20 million people. I've been focusing a little less on funding the army or the navy because I kind of want to build up stuff that promotes population growth and like immigration and all that stuff, which has been working out for the most part. We have 4 million people in Haiti right now, another 2 million people in Santo Domingo for 6 million total people on the island of Hispaniola. You can see the urban population takes up like most of this side already. We also have a now sizable diaspora of Afro-Antilleans who have left Haiti and instead moved to Central America to help with the, well, mostly the agricultural industry and also like a couple of other resources. I did also end up fixing the innovation a little bit. Now, if I were to keep going, first of all, of course, I'd like, you know, go to war with Spain, because currently they are gearing up for a war against the Americans and Portuguese. After that, we did get our investment rights in Peru, Bolivia, so ideally we would get enough investment in there that eventually their economy would become more reliant on our power block. And then at some point, I would hope to either liberate or transfer River Plate to ourselves. Paraguay, I was also getting a little bit of foreign investment in there to eventually add them. And then if possible, maybe something with Chile, I don't know. Mexico is just about untouchable at this point though. Anyway, this has gone a lot better than I thought it would. Managing to grab most of the Caribbean wasn't even on my bingo list today, especially the stuff that we managed to grab from Britain basically by chance. That was pretty funny. Also the second time, but that was less so by chance, more so, well, just AI incompetency, I guess. Very funny that Britain is in 5 pieces. Also expected that Prussia never formed Germany. I don't think I've seen them form Germany since like 2022. I don't know. I might have messed up a little bit of the formation requirements for the Confederation of the Rhine. I don't think this is supposed to happen. Otherwise, we have, yeah, that's cool, I guess. And just one last thing is if we look at the GDP ownership, you can see we've been, you know, quite a bit busy. It's hard to check how much of the GDP that we own in America. If I had to guess, it's probably like 5% or something, but we have actually been doing like quite a lot. That'll do it for today though. If you enjoyed watching, I would really appreciate it. If you wanted to leave a like or something, that would be great. Or subscribe, even though I don't play that much Victoria 3 on the channel, but if it has enough interest interest shown in it, then, you know. And I realize just by recording this, I know it's gonna be a bit of a longer one, so thank you for making it to the end of this video. And for now, this is Corbett signing off, and as always, have a fantastic day. Big shout out to the patrons this month, in particular Erica, Lukebecker, Nick Steffel, Cuberoot, AG Fodero, Ben Mottram, Quiet Guy, Rosset, Torvalved, Ambient Cyan, James Levy, Luke78776, and Robert. By the way, all of these people also get early access to videos, so if that's something you're interested in, it's literally $1.